Alright lads, so continuing on with our character showcase of the newest characters in Brave Souls. Today, we're here to focus on the character that I was least excited about, that being the new PARASOL version of Gin. Now, Gin's honestly, all things considered, a pretty solid character. He of course has some bad things about him, but he also does have some good things about him. My biggest problem right now, which you are going to see in the showcase, is that there's not really much of a place for him. He doesn't excel in any piece of content, like characters designed for specific modes, for example, right? Like, Rukia is a very similar character. She can be really good in any piece of content, more so than Gin. But she is specifically designed in mind for Limit Breaker, so whenever that comes around, she's going to be really good. Ikaku is designed for Inheritance Trials, and is going to be good every single month for that particular mode. In Gin's case, he's an overall solid character that just doesn't have a particular place where you want to bring him. So me, as a not really super massive Gin fan, I'm not really given much of a reason to actually use him, and that's why I was kind of disappointed when I actually bought him. No, we got Gin, no! Not Gin. But you know what? That's not always a bad thing. Not every character has to be the best in every single game modes. Sometimes you just want a good, fun character to use as your favorite character. And that's exactly what this character is. This is mainly just a character for Gin fans. If you like playing with Gin, he's a great character to use in basically every piece of content. He's not going to be the best character in those modes, but he's definitely good enough to be used there. So let's demonstrate why he is a good character. For starters, he is a speed super killer with a 12% recharge search rate. Looking at his damage output, he does have damage to weakened enemies plus 40%, frenzy plus 2. When he is at full stamina, he then gets an additional 40% strong attack damage increase, and he's very easily able to stay at full stamina thanks to that SA2 barrier move. He comes with the extra recharge, and he also does have 20% more damage at full stamina built in. In terms of survivability, as already mentioned, he does have the barrier. That's going to pretty much keep him at full stamina, especially because he does have multi-barrier, and he also does have complete stats immunity, so he's able to stand wherever you want to. Now, as a speed super killer, he does have some tough competition, that being Tensei Zangetsu and of course also Yachiru. And in my opinion, those two characters have a bit more usability when compared to Gin. But Gin is a ranged character, so technically you can get some usage out of him in Guild Quest, where he is going to have that immunity, he is going to have a good damage output, and he is going to provide your teammates with the barriers to potentially keep them alive. Now, for this showcase, we're going to be using the following accessories: a Lieutenant's Badge, Hunting Cap, and also Fortification Pill. Unfortunately, I just don't own a T-set. The links include Ichigo, recharge and strong attack damage, Momo, recharge and full stamina, and then Shad, recharge and once more full stamina. For bonus abilities, we've given him full stam and long stride, and when we take him into epic raids, we're going to switch that for weakened defense. So first up, let's take Gin into single player IT. We are going against 120 leveled enemies. In this case, the worst part about this character, and to a certain extent it does ruin him for a lot of people, is that SA1 being an 18% magnification strong attack. For some reason, Caleb are very afraid, to say the least, whenever they give characters extra recharge. For some reason, they always have to give the character a bad strong attack 1, unless you're Yachiru Unohana / Retsu. I'm pretty sure they're the only two characters that have like a really good strong attack 1 when they have the built-in recharge. In this case, Gin's SA1, which is the attack he is going to use quite often, you know, it doesn't have the power that you want with a normal strong attack 1. You know, maybe a 3k length beam would have been super more optimal with this character. But either way, at least in single player content, even without killer in IT, we're still one-shotting, and at the very least, he does have a good chance of inflicting status events, since he does have an increased chance to do so. His SA2 is going to be a 960 in front of him, pretty good attack all things considered. Again, does provide him with the 5-hit barrier, and the visuals for it are actually quite cool too. And you'd actually see when you actually get hit, you start to lose the weak going around it. So there we go, we have 2 hits left, it's now yellow, and then it becomes like a red aura. It's kind of cool. And then of course the character's first strong attack is a full screen. This character has some great visuals to it. Honestly, I don't mind the character's strong attack kit all things considered. Obviously, I would prefer a better strong attack 1, especially when paired with an SA2 that can inflict status events and has a longer than usual cooldown, right? In terms of strong attacks, it's really just that SA1 that I have a massive gripe with. And to be fair, even the SA2 could be a bit better. There's no reason in 2023 that a strong attack 2 with a just barrier doesn't have any status on it. It really should be able to inflict weakening, and if it did, it'd actually be a really good strong attack hit. Really cool assault bomb though. Really cool assault bomb. I like it. And in that case, for our very first attempt in single player IT, we were able to just clear in under 2 minutes time, 1 minute and 54 seconds. Obviously, we weren't going for the fast run. Let's try that once more and see if we can get a faster and respectable clear time. So let's try that once more. Let's use our SA1 into the 2, then inflict everyone with the SA3. Not too bad. We are doing decent amount of damage, to be fair, because remember, this character's damage output like ain't even too bad. It's frenzy plus 2 with the 40% berserker when you're at full stamina. He has the extra built-in recharge, so we have a 4-second cooldown SA1. We have 20% more damage out full stamina. Outside of that SA1, he has some really good range to him. And again, he is going to be a safe character too, right? You don't have to worry about taking hits from this. You can stand wherever you want to, regardless of the quest that you are going against, because you have complete stats immunity. So while he might not be the fastest character per se, he's definitely going to be a somewhat fast character. And a really safe one at that too. Right now, also, we are playing single player IT, so it's not too difficult, right? Let's use our summon here. Not too bad. But I can say safely, just from our first initial runs in single player, is that when we do take him into co-op, we might not clear super fast, but we are definitely going to clear it, and clear it safely. Let's finish up with the SA3. Honestly, not too bad there. You know, sometimes when you take a character into co-op IT, even if they have like a really good strong attack here and they have really good damage output, sometimes it's still difficult. Now, in this case, a 1 minute clear time is kind of in line of what you expect of a character like this. He doesn't have killer here. And honestly, ideally, when you take a character into Inheritance Trials, you do want to have killer. So a 1 minute clear time is probably expected for a character like this. Had we had killer, had the enemies been Soripa, we probably would lower that down to around maybe 40-ish seconds. Next up, though, let's put him to the test and take him into co-op IT, right? Again, it's going to be on the slower side since we don't have a ranked killer. But since we do have an increased chance to apply weakening, it shouldn't be too bad. It's just going to be on the slower side. Like, I don't think at all in any situation are we going to die, because we can always keep that barrier active. Must say, it's very weird, and the same thing with Rukia. It's very strange or rare for us to get a character with a utility effect that doesn't have 2 utility effects, right? Like, I feel like it would have been a tad bit better had this character been given a barrier and boost. That wouldn't have been too bad. But then again, at least in his case, only having a barrier does come with a benefit because the attack itself is classed as a melee attack. So if you do take this character into GQ, despite him being a ranged character, the SA2 will actually do damage. And SA2 is not doing too bad damage right now. Again, SA3 does a good amount of damage too. High chance we do apply weakening where we can then do more damage. I feel like it's going to be more notable or noticeable on bosses. And unfortunately, I can't my SA3 there by accident. When the bosses spawn in, 1 or 2 strong attacks should pretty much get the enemies weakened where we can then do a tad bit more damage to them, right? Let's use our SA3 there. Push them back with a 1. Now, this is our first boss stage, so the enemies are going to spawn in near the top right. Let's use our SA2. Always make sure our SA2 is active at all times. Thanks to that extra recharge, even if you aren't rocking free at 14% recharge soldier rates, you're still able to easily stack it and make sure that barrier is always active. Let's push him back with the SA1. Did apply weakening, not too bad. Push them back with the SA1, and then let's use our SA3. Respect amount of damage there. We actually didn't inflict weakening. We did there on the SA1. That's one decent thing about the SA1, since it does have a lot of hits to it. You know, there's a decent chance you do apply the weakening, right? In that case, it took us like 3 to 4 strong attacks to kill the enemies, in particular the bosses. So I'd say if we ever have killer effect, it's probably going to be 2 strong attacks and done, which honestly ain't even too bad. Let's use our SA3. I'm going to save my summon for the final boss. Bosses spawned in. They already got weakened. Not too bad. At that point, even our SA2 then does do a lot of damage. Look at that. If we apply the weakening, we use our SA2, it's an absolute wipe. That was pretty cool to see. And now we're going into the final boss. I don't want to nuke straight away. We're going to do some damage to the first set of waves here. Damage the next wave with the bosses. Make sure they get a tad bit weak before we decide to nuke. Can we apply weakening on both? Almost did. Let's use our SA3 here. And then potentially nuke now. Does that go through? Unfortunately didn't. Grimjaw was still too much HP. We made a big mistake there. To be fair, it's not too bad because we're going to SA3 into the next stage. Zapro got weakened. 2 strong attacks put him down. Not too bad. And then the SA1 should finish him up. And it's always this character. This one laser enemy. I don't know why. Every time I play IC, he's always the one last standing. So in that case, usually we do multiple runs. But in this case, since he doesn't have kill on, we got a 3 minute and 39 second clear time. Nowhere near insane to the likes of Kyoge, for example. This isn't a character that you want to use in IT when there isn't Soripa enemies. When there is, though, I think he's actually quite the good lead. If you don't want to use any other character, let's say you're a Gin fan, you want to carry with him, by all means you could. And even in a ranker IT, to be fair, which actually, you know what, I guess we can try that. Now, to be fair, it's probably Tenta still doing all the work, right? But the idea here is let's see if we can keep the Tentas alive. Of course, they're going to do a lot of damage. They're probably going to auto. I did say I was going to carry this quest. And with our barrier SA2, the fact that we can just keep stacking it, maybe, just maybe, we can keep our teammates alive. So hypothetically, if you did want to carry IT or just, you know, main IT with this character right now at any time in the future, especially when he has Super Killer, it's honestly not the worst idea because you are going to keep the Tensors alive if they do decide to auto. Now, this IT, I'd say, is probably the hardest to auto, mainly due to the fact that the laser enemies absolutely rinse through your HP. They also do rinse through the barrier as well, so that's something they have to keep in mind. Let's use our SA1 there. Unfortunately, my ult account, that was my ult account, it went down. That's fine though, we still have the other Tensors alive. Let's just make sure we're even using our nurturing when possible. And we want to make sure we have an SA1 or 3 ready for the next set of bosses, like now, for example. Let's go there. Let's use our SA3. Not too bad right there. Not too bad. And with that, we're already to the final stage. Let's use our SA2 again. Use our SA1 on the bosses. Do we apply weakening? Yes, we do. That's going to keep our Tensors alive and allow us to do more damage. Now let's use our Soul Bomb. Why is Grimjaw always left alive? Okay, that's kind of annoying. Kind of ruined the round just a tad bit, I'll be honest. But we have applied the weakening. And then finish up with the SA3. So obviously, when he's by himself, as we always demonstrate, we try to take character into co-op IT by themselves. You know, when they don't have killer, when not like a massive powerhouse damage dealer to the likes of, you know, Killgate, for example, you know, the running is going to be on the slower side. In this case, though, when we carried the Tensor and Getsus, granted one did actually play, there is some utility effect and some usage you can do with this character if you are a Gin fan. And again, that's just the best way to sum up this character, right? If you like Gin, if you want to use Gin, you can use him. You're not really given much of a reason to use Gin if you're not a massive Gin fan, but you can make it work. And in that case, I think we made it work. If you want to farm with Gin, the SA2 and the increased chance to inflict weakening is going to do a pretty good job at keeping your Tensors or any other farmers alive. And that's a pretty good thing about him. Next up, we're going to get a full Gin lobby and see how Gin does take on the Awakened Keyscape Epic Raid. In this case, remember, he is a bonus, so we are getting that 2 times damage output. He does also have Super Killer, so he's going to be really good here. When it comes to the build that we are using, we're going with the full Toshiro setup, so 20% Berserker across the board, and also 20% more damage out full stamina. We have these following accessories, and then we're giving him a mixture of recharge and strong attack damage, because we want to make sure that SA2 is always active, so we always have the barrier. With that said, though, that's a full Gin lobby. Let's get into it. I didn't check any of these lads' builds. I did see a lot of T10s. That's fine, though. With Gin, we shouldn't be too bad here. Remember, this epic raid in particular is kind of a hassle right now because the Keyscape attacks just come out very fast. It's a very hectic epic raid. I know I and many other people have yet to actually learn it, despite it being a returning epic raid. But the barriers, especially when there's 6 of us, should also make it significantly easier, right? Now, our SA1 really isn't built for epic raid content. We can't get the most damage out of it. But the SA2, SA3, the increased chance to inflict weakening is also going to be really good here, especially if any of these lads have given their character weakened defense, which I don't think they did. That's fine, though. As you can see here, we're like, what, 10 seconds in, already done almost the first phase? If you want to have an easy time farming epic raids this month, I will say Gin runs might be the way here. Look at that. We're only 20 seconds in, and we're already into the second phase. Let's go here, use that SA3, back up, because I know there's an instant-core attack coming eventually. That's kind of the good thing about this epic raid too. There isn't much instant kill attacks. It's mainly just like the vortexes, a lot of just attacks flying at you fast, but not that much instant kill attacks. So with Gin, it does become significantly easier, especially in that case, as you saw there, we used our Soul Bomb, we used our SA3, the weakening and weakened defense was applied, and with that, very easily done, sub 1 minute clear time. Honestly, not too bad to deal 50 million damage. So, you know, I guess that's one good place to use Gin for the course of November, is to take him into epic raid content. Honestly, he's not going to be too bad here. And in general, any epic raid content in the future, right? If you really like to use this Gin, you can use him here. And you can always just give him the Gantenbane link, so he is still working as a link sort farmer. You have that option if you are a Gin fan. And that's essentially just, again, the best way to sum up this character. I am someone that, I like Gin. He's not my favorite character. And if I'm being honest with you, lads, I'm probably not going to use this character outside of maybe doing the weekly power attribute scroll quest, because he can read all affiliation dodges, and that's really about it. I'm someone that does like to maximize my farming, so in IT, I'm going to bring Tensor. In Guild Quest, I might take him in. We'll definitely experiment that when the Range Shopper Guild Quest does come around. But you know what? This Gin isn't aimed at me. I'm not a massive Gin fan. That's safe for Edwards. And a character like this is aimed at Gin fan. So if you like Gin and you pull him, you can definitely make him work. We took him into a few pieces of content today, and he's definitely a solid character. Not the best of the best, and I think the best way to describe him is the jack of all trades, master of none. To some, this might be a fun, great character. To others, it's a forgettable character. To me, I'm mainly just going to use him in the weekly quest, and that's really about it. Either way, though, lads, in the comments below, let me know what you like to think about this Gin. Overall, I think he has a great design, some great visuals to back it up. Overall, solid character, but not a character for me. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys next time. Take care and peace.